Hello, everybody. Welcome, one and all, to episode 7 of A Tale of Two Lions. We've been gone a couple weeks. Things happen. Stuff went down. But it's cool. We're back. We're here. We're live. We're doing stuff. How y'all doing tonight? I mean,
are you? Oh, you're talking about us?
Y'all.
Us.
Us?
They can't talk to me.
The audience.
I exist?
Look, I don't
Yes,
know.
they
maybe,
can. The
maybe
chat
you-
box is right there.
maybe you're
Hello.
doing some Dora the Explorer level shit. Like looking at the crowd.
What
Hey,
was your
kids,
favorite part?
What was your? Yeah, you enjoy that dice roll? What would you've done?
Would I be
You have
Swiper
a
in this
deal,
scenario,
honey?
just so I know? Just so I'm aware, because I'm the one coming and
Sorry,
ruining
but yes.
things. That's
I
all.
think
to
that
roll a d20. Do you
You're
have a
you're the
d20?
map. You're the map.
You're the map.
Yeah.
I mean, look, white people in general is Swiper. We get it. Let's get that out the room. But you're the map.
If there's a place you gotta go, I'm the one you gotta know. I'm the map.
Don't like that.
Nope.
Didn't like
hate
it.
that with my whole soul.
Nope.
It was Asmer. I've been told I should do Asmer streaming.
Gosh. What a begin. You know, what a
Okay,
begin.
but I have a thought for you. What if you didn't? What if
Okay,
you didn't?
we'll think about it. So, anyways, hi folks. Welcome to episode 7 of A Tale of Two Lions. My name's Anoriand. You can call me Josh. Before we start doing all the hays and hoes and how do you do's and all that stuff, let's get our sponsors out of the way. Our first sponsor who we want to
Hose,
give a
you
shout out
say?
to. Yes, the
Where are
hose.
the hoes?
Oh, delightful.
Like the same ones in Ludacris's area code song. If you hit an exclamation point Valor in chat, our first sponsor is Valorous Games, who make the Valor RP system, who, big shout outs, managed to not only successfully run their Kickstarter for the reprint of their main handbook, but actually beat their first stretch goal of $10,000. So all the people involved who are backing that will be getting a full foes and enemies tome to go along with it. So that's awesome. But you can find links to Valorous Games website as well as to their Twitter to stay abreast of all the things and be a part of all that and get that stuff, and all that's good. Then if you hit exclamation point and venture in chat, our other big sponsor is Adventuring Kit. You can see a little blue box beneath me. That is a cutout of the screen from the Adventuring Kit website. Adventuring Kit is a virtual tabletop. It is system agnostic. It is clean. It is fast. It is good. It is positive. I like it. It's a good thing. We use it because it's good and because it's good. And yeah, I keep saying good, but it's good. Like, eventually you run out of words. I went and talked about like the little cranky thingy that the dots do for the dice and all that stuff and how fast it is. And I can keep going, but it's just good. It's just genuinely good. If you like it and you find it's good as well, you can go to the Adventuring Kit website and you can sign up for a premium subscription if you so choose, if you want to be able to have a big party game going on and all that good stuff. There is a monthly fee, obviously, but you put in code GameDad in all caps, you get 25% off of a monthly subscription. And that's it for our sponsors this week. Let's get to the real reason you're here, the cool people in this game. You'll notice there's an empty box. We'll get to that at the end. So first, Wally! Go ahead and tell the people where they can find you.
Sup?
And what's up? Not where they can find you. Whatever. I don't.
Okay.
Listen, my
Wow,
head is
Josh,
mush.
Just like a white person to subjugate me and put me in the corner.
Oh,
Man.
jeez.
Don't you just hate it? Don't you just hate to see it?
I'm putting
Just a
myself
white
in
man putting the
timeout.
black man down. Someone had to say it. You know, Safi isn't here. Someone had to fill in the void.
It's true.
Yes, someone had to do it. Sup, y'all? It's me, Wally, your favorite non-binary, my best friend on the internet, who is always here to put down Whitey whenever they need to be a slap on the wrist. You can find me on Twitter, WALLE132, like the cute little Disney robot. Today, I am playing Virgil Wormtooth. Why am I being so cocky in my intro? Because I'm turning Virgil up to 11. There's nothing you can do to stop me. And I'm gonna throw it over to DK.
What's
I'm in
up?
timeout
That's me.
still. Y'all gotta handle it.
I'm DK. Josh is in timeout. You can find me at AbbaDarlings on Twitter, where I'm doing my best to become the confessional poet of TTRPGs. You can also find me live on Exquisite Corpse Presents immediately after this, where I run a very gay, very broken game of D&D about gods. And today I will be playing Celacia Farcyrus, the Dragonkin monk. Who goes next? Lexi?
Is it me? I believe it's me. Yeah, my name's Lexi, otherwise known as Black Girl Mage. You can find me on Twitter. But here I am today playing our one and only she likes things that
Daddy.
click.
Daddy.
Yeah,
Daddy.
she's
Daddy.
definitely daddy.
Daddy.
She also just likes to tinker,
She
and
can
she
tinker
doesn't like to
things.
commit.
She
Yeah,
can
she
tinker
likes to
things.
tinker, but she don't like to commit. I am playing Fallon Invictus tonight.
Wow.
I'm not even gonna say anything else. I'm just gonna pass it on over to Sin.
In my best youth passer voice, Josh is over here talking about being in timeout because he's not making the appropriate room for someone he should be making time for.
Please.
Thank you all for
That's
coming
it,
out
that's
for
all I got.
episode 7 of A Tale of Two Lives. This has been
Have a
wonderful.
Good night, everyone. We will
You
see
be
you
good night.
next
That's
week.
it. Later, guys.
Bam, bam, ba-da. Bam, bam,
You gave it the old
ba-da.
college.
Absolutely lovely.
Oh, goodness.
This is without Sephi.
Oh,
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
I guess I should point out, right? Hi, my name is Sinziek, resident sunflower being, and full of a garden of delights, and also does a handful of variety things, which are probably going to include a certain road trip game as soon as possible. I am Zeros this evening. And most evenings that I'm here, probably for the worst today, but for better in most cases.
And
Josh is
I
going to
am.
torment all of us. and that's
Oh,
fine.
I'm gonna have fun. I am going to. We're not bringing up the badge. I am your storyteller, Anoriand. You can call me Josh. And yeah, normally there is a 5th player. As you can see, there is a conspicuously empty box that belongs to our 5th team member, Persephoroth, aka Sephi. She plays Feldspar, our resident thaumaturge. She is not going to be here tonight, but as you will see, based on what's about to go down, maybe for the best. We'll see. So, because it's been a couple of weeks, let's give a brief recap before we jump back into things. If everyone remembers, our team traveled to Gaug, Machine City. Hold on one moment. Here we go. Now I can do this right. Our team traveled to Gaug, Machine City. While at Gaug, Machine City, they ended up finding an old underground repository of sorts. They were led to by an ancient map that was apparently pinpointing the location of a zodiac stone. Upon getting down there and exploring a bit, they ended up encountering Construct 5 and finding said holy stone, specifically the Stone of Aquarius. Using it, they summoned a warrior from another realm, the great General Beatrix. But then danger appeared in the form of Anatolos, the same man who gave Garion his power when he betrayed them, the same man who ultimately led to the death of their leader Remus Thedolphus. The team fought and managed to defeat Anatolos and both the soul orbs that he summoned, and his body collapsed on the ground, and his robe collapsed atop it, leaving no body to be found. And now our team is here, standing around after the carnage of that battle, trying to essentially put together the pieces of where to go now.
Virgil kicks the cloak to the side.
When Virgil does, you will see there's like almost a scorch mark on the ground, like not flames, but it's almost a marking, like the outline of body. Like whatever magic was there, like seeped through. And it's just cloak. There's nothing else you can notice.
I'm gonna pick up all this stuff because we're going to like take that somewhere and have it analyzed.
Absolutely.
Well, this feels like a friggin' dead end.
Well, we definitely shouldn't stay here with the stone.
Well, I mean, What of what did we say Beatrix's title was?
General.
What were we what of General Beatrix? We certainly can't leave her here. Would you care to come along with us?
I wouldn't really know an alternative, to be honest with you. Don't quite know how I got here, but it seems I was brought here for some reason. I think I need to follow you for now.
Fair enough.
So, none of this was helpful to us, right? I mean...
Well, some of this was because we at least have this stone. And that...
It at least
know,
means
this-
nobody else has it.
That's true.
So we're basically going to be walking around with a gigantic power beacon saying, hey, come and attack us, is what we're saying we're about to do.
Yep.
I mean, to be fair, I wouldn't mind that. I mean, just walking around with me already does that as, by default.
Oh, would you like to hold this to, if it's possible to improve on perfection, enhance that beacon of yours?
Well, first of all, perfection can't be perfected even further, so don't even try and put that wordplay nonsense into my head. Second, no, I don't do well with magical items. And he shoves the hand with the box back at him.
I mean, what's our plan from here? Do we go somewhere else? Do we try to find more of these and do what we did here so no one else can do it first?
What I might suggest is, considering our opponent, who I'm sure we haven't seen the last of, was wearing these clothes, we should have someone try to look at them and see if we can gather anything about them.
Yeah.
I feel
I
like
think-
someone at the academy might be able to help with that, but I don't know who that would be.
I think we should hide the stone. I don't know that I really want anyone to know that we have it yet.
Who
Well,
can
we'd
we-
also have to prevent them from finding this place, so
Yeah.
how would we do that?
I know a place.
Do you...
Barb?
Where?
home.
I'm curious, and I'm also very willing to not ask questions.
I'm not. We're pretty close to my place, I guess, if you could call it that. It's not really mine anymore, but I don't know. How close is your home?
Josh, how close is my home?
I mean, it's a hike. It's gonna be a couple of days of walking.
It's a trek, and it's a little bit out of the way, but I know it'll be safe there.
Okay.
I suppose all things being considered, more out of the way is probably a good thing for something like this.
Yeah, keep the stone away from the place that is supposed to be, far as away as possible.
Yeah.
And Virgil, I need you to do me a favor.
Okay, what is this favor?
I need you to be on your absolute best behavior when we get there. The two of you will be the first men that anyone in my hometown has seen in about 1,000 years.
If you're looking for someone who's going to be well behaved, you should probably make me the first then in that case.
I
expect
agree.
nothing
Hold on,
less
now,
of you.
zero. Now, first of all, it is humble that you would try to offer yourselves for this to be the first image of a first male body they've ever seen in forever.
Well
but I would
behaved.
probably let them see, gaze upon perfection as the first image they see when we walk upon this village. So, if you don't mind, Celeste, I would be on my best behavior. Be on my best behavior. but I will be at full peacock.
I would love to say that they could gaze upon perfection, but seeming as they've kept men out of their situation for so long, I'm sure they're used to it already. You're disrupting whatever.
Oh, no. See, here's the thing, Fallon. I am perfect. Every other guy, I mean, men are trash. I mean, they're terrible people. They don't know how to commit into relationships. They lie to get whatever they want. You know, they'll use yourself. Me, I'm perfect. Okay, but
Virgil, I cannot wait for you to meet my mother.
So I just walk over to Salacia and go, the best way to keep him on his best behavior, much like other things, is to make it just the slightest bit of a competition, because no matter what he does, he tries to come in first place for all of these things. And then I say a little bit louder so everyone can hear, and that is why I intend to be the best behaved male they have seen in 1,000 years.
bitch, I'll be better behaved you and twice as more male-mannered.
This is going to be real fun.
It's going to be
Then-
delightful.
May the most well-mannered man win.
Indubitably. And he flings his scarf over his shoulder, like goes around his face at one time, and he walks up.
Oh, these stories are so funny. I would say that it's you're bringing the house down.
Boo.
And as you all hear that voice reverberating,
Yeah,
you
that's
feel the ground shaking beneath your feet.
Time to run.
And
Yep.
all of a sudden, rocks begin falling from the giant cavern you're in. Most notably, immediately a large rock falls, almost as though it was carved out magically, directly in the path of the stairs where you came.
Okay, now, if I'm gonna ask this as a cue, does that mean don't go this way, or does that mean I can do shenanigans? Because I will do shenanigans.
You can try and
will.
do shenanigans, but you are actively in a cave-in.
Okay, because the shenanigans is going to be like, hey, we have like moves that do damage to things. I'm going to use them.
Basically, stones are collapsing in that area. So, like, if it was something erected in your way, I would say that's a good strategy. I would say you should find an alternative, because cutting down one rock ain't gonna cut it.
Okay.
Okay.
Then we're just gonna
Okay.
we're gonna use those observation skills and look around.
Yep.
So looking around, basically just looking around in your present state, you're gonna notice that there is, on the far end of the cavern, there is like more cave work that you have no idea where it leads. And then there is the big pillar building pillar room thingy you were in with the machinery. It is floor to ceiling, so you remembered it was a constructed room. You would be stuck in there if there's a cave-in, but rocks should not fall on you.
Okay.
And this is going to be a bit of a choose-your-own-adventure moment.
Okay, so offhand we have the corridor down here. We don't know what's happening in that room. However, in the other room we have access to Worker 5, which I suppose if we get stuck in a cave-in, he would be able to blast our way out or dig our way out, however long that might take.
Okay, that was a lot of explanation there. I say we go to the room with the gigantic tall thing that can help us dig our way out, and he runs towards there.
I will follow. I trust in technology, and I run.
It's as good a plan as any.
Well, at this point, enough people have started running that Beatrix also follows along.
I just kind of I make sure to bring up the rear, and I'm just like, Beatrix after you.
Appreciate that, thank you. And you all rush into the room. You hear the crashing of rocks all throughout. You're not really sure the level of cave-in that's occurring, but inside the room, you hear everything crashing about out there, just absolute chaos. As you all rush in the room, you notice that maybe it was because it was part of the teleportation process earlier, or what have you, that Construct 5 shut down, but he is turned back on again. And so as you all rush in the room, you see him. Hello, humans. Welcome back.
Rocks falling from the sky. Blast them away? Question mark? I say that out loud.
They turn their head slightly, almost confused. I am afraid I need further parameters. I'm unsure if statement or query.
Enter protection protocol. Help us get out of this underground cabin.
Ah, I see. Searching database. Searching database. Searching database.
Oh my god, can you search faster?
Searching database. Answer found. Are you looking for escape method, hand carve,
Yes.
or escape method, machine teleport?
Everyone quick.
That one.
The one you know how to use.
Worker 5, please give us a list of places that machine teleport can take us.
Searching database. Option found. Machine teleport can teleport wherever coordinates are agreed upon. By using a
Okay.
backflow of the teleportation machine we choose used for summoning, one can be placed directly into the life stream as a methodology of transportation. This
So-
process is dangerous but possible.
All right.
We're doing
they
it.
go, yeah, let's do this. Yep.
Sure.
Okay.
Fallon runs
La-
over and starts-
So,
Yeah, go ahead.
Laisha, please explain to Worker 5 where it is that you want us to go, or for safety, approximately a mile away from there.
Worker 5.
Yes, human.
We're looking for a village deep in the jungle, entirely female population, perhaps 1,000 years old, 1,000 years since it was established.
Searching
Be a
database.
Heavy magical signature.
Answer found. Searching for village of Order Ophidius.
Okay. That it?
Answer found. Coordinates logged. And as he says that, you see his hands go up, all the fingers extend around, because they're almost on like an orb shape at the end with just some fingers sticking out. All the fingers kind of slide back and don't even start with me. And hit 5 like a perfect even star shape in their arrangement with the orb going forward and a hole opening inside of each one. And he turns, takes his hands, goes like this, and drops them into 2 slots that are on the desk next to you. And everything seems to sort of click in. Humans, please enter standing platform.
Hop on the
everyone.
platform.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's obviously motion, and he stares straight at the same platform where Beatrix was summoned. So I'm assuming all of you get on there. Again, still in the background. Some of it clanging now, you can tell like rocks are actually smashing on the giant gears and cogworks that you remembered seeing on the wall. As all this chaos and tumult is happening, you all stand on a platform, and you all almost immediately realize that this platform was not designed for 6 people. You can squeeze in, but there's clearly one circular cut out in the middle for 1 person, and then all the lines and such going in. So it's not
All right.
built for all y'all.
Okay. I'll stand right.
All right.
I'll stand right here. I'll just stand.
Okay.
I'll just stand.
Yep.
I'm okay.
Humans, be forewarned. Teleportation can have mild adverse effects.
Oh, good.
What do you mean mild adverse effects?
Doesn't
Searching
really matter.
database.
No, it's fine.
Answer found. Potential issues include limb loss, being lost in a etheric flow of life stream, and or death.
All right. Okay, I'm with it.
That doesn't
All right.
sound too bad. Only 2 things. It's
Yeah,
fine.
2 out of 3 ain't bad. All right, let's go.
Calculating breach. Engaging mode.
One more thing, Worker 5.
Yes.
After this cave-in is complete, please clear the debris.
Query responded and selected. Will do. Thank you. And engaging. Fully engaged. Thank you. Please enjoy your trip. And with that, you see everything begin to light up, and the platform underneath you begins to shine. Energy flowing from the cracks. It's almost beautiful, the light that's coming up, counterbalanced against the wild cacophony and roar of rocks slamming around in the cavern around you as this cave-in is occurring. And you see the energy form up as a circular pillar around all of you, with a bunch of dividing cuts going throughout, and all of you begin to feel your body lightening. For lack of a better way of putting it, it's almost the feeling of your body going to sleep, like numbness, as everything gets weird and fuzzy along everywhere. And you see bits of yourself almost begin to flitter away, and then, like that, with one final bright flash, all of you see light. Pure, endless light. And in that light, you feel yourself beforehand. You were feeling your bodies next to each other. And even as everything got fuzzy, you felt that connection with one another. But you begin feeling it breaking a bit. As you're going. And then you notice very specifically, as all this is happening, that the light begins to dim slightly, but you make out forms. But one particular form in the group rockets off, almost like it was entrenched with energy. I need all of you to do me a favor and give me an intuition roll.
That's an 11 from me.
16.
That
12.
is a 14 from me.
Okay. So, Virgil and Salacia, you both realize you're not sure necessarily, because everyone's just kind of... You're vaguely aware of the presence of these other energies, and you can see, like, it almost looks like a quicksilver, like just a burst of energy with no real form where everyone was. A bunch of bodies floating, and only one broke away. And you remember Feldspar was holding the stone.
Oh, that was Feldspar. Ooh, okay.
All of you aren't perfectly sure of speech being anything right now, but all the same, while right now you have this feeling of not actually having your own body, and yet also being fully in tune with yourself, and you're connected to the energy of yourself in a world in a way you weren't before. And so even though you don't fundamentally understand the concept right now of what are my lips, how would I move them to make noise, Virgil, you know that was said and you heard it. It's almost like you're operating in a plane beyond physical
Huh.
capability right now.
So it was like telepathy almost?
To a degree.
Okay.
That would be the closest way to describe it.
Huh. That was weird. Can you guys hear what I'm doing right now?
Yeah, stop shouting.
I'm not shouting. I'm just
Do you
that.
always
suppose
think that
so.
loud?
Yes, I would think this loud. Yes, I do.
He thinks only as loud as he exists.
Thank you.
I suppose you're right.
So, are we dead?
I don't think so.
At the very least, we're non-corporeal, and I have to say, the feeling is kind of nice.
It's like floating.
Huh.
If we're all dead, I died on my way to all of you. This is what I experienced too.
Interesting.
What was that
Maybe-
like for you?
Yeah.
I don't, it's weird. It was like, it's almost like I feel like I'm part of the planet. And, but the thing is, I had to confront some things in my spirit and my soul. I thought it was just, I thought I had died. But then I saw all of you, and my body was back, and I just assumed it was some sort of weird magic.
All right. So, do we have to take a step out there? And he like reaches a foot out to kind of like extend further out into this void if he can.
So, go ahead and roll guts for me.
Oh, good thing I'm good at that. My guts is fantastic. But I rolled really low. So that is going to be a 9.
Okay. So, you see, you don't, again, you're not sure, like, you're basically going off of the best approximation you can have of legs and arms and so on. But everyone can see, like, one of these orbs, obviously not Virgil, who is the orb in this case. Everyone can see one of these sort of flows of energy almost disseminating a bit, and like part of it, like it's trying to escape. And as you do that, what you all realize is the best way to describe the sort of low light around you and everything, it almost feels like going through space. And like you see bursts of light in random spots. Almost the same way as one would view constellations, galaxies, stars, all around you. And as the dissemination happens and pieces go out, it's almost like it's reaching towards one of them, and you see a tendril flare out and tap one of these glowing spots. And in so doing, all of you feel pulled towards this spot. You all start feeling pulled towards that glowing sort of galaxy of sorts. And as you get closer, it almost becomes like a view of... It's hard to tell. It's fuzzy around the edges. Like trying to look through an old screen, but the closer you get, the more it comes into focus. And you realize that you're looking at a young man standing before two older people who look like likely his parents. This quiet young man, and they're talking to him, and they're saying, "You need to trust us. You know we wouldn't lead you astray, but you cannot let anyone know who you really are or where you come from. They will hurt you. We're here for our safety. But we're not safe if they know who we are. Maybe in the future. But not now. And you see the young boy just nodding, understandingly.
I think the young. I was about to say, I think the young boy would probably respond, but the goddess would protect us, right?
The goddess will always protect us. But the goddess also protects those who protect themselves. There are people who can attack, and the goddess's protection... How to put this? It's not that it's limited, but sometimes bad things happen to good people.
So, we have to keep things a secret then.
Yes. Think of it almost like a
Okay.
game.
How long do we have to keep the secret though?
Until the war is over, and we know we can be safe.
Okay. If I grow up and I do, why are we having a war?
Because sometimes people in power make decisions only caring about themselves and not caring about all the lives who get affected from it.
That sounds kind of mean. Can I help speed this up somehow?
How do you want to speed it up, dear?
Well, what if I go help fight the bad guys?
They don't let children fight, hon. And because you shouldn't. You should just enjoy being a child.
Okay, so we have to keep the secret until someone figures out what to do with the bad guys.
Yes.
I can do that, I think. This is probably not going to go well. I don't know how I'm going to do with keeping secrets. Wait a minute. And, like, if there's like a basket of fruit or something like that nearby, I'm just going to pick up a piece of fruit and I'm going to put it in my mouth and just go, just kind of point at it. Like I've had the most brilliant idea ever.
The parents just laugh. I want Salacia, Fallon, and Virgil, do me a favor and roll intuition. You get a 10, didn't you?
Yeah, I got a 15.
10. So that is an 18.
8. I
Close
rolled a
enough.
1.
That's fine. Virgil and Salacia immediately realize. It takes Fallon a few moments to realize, but you all realize that there were 5 of your little energy forms. You and then 4 others. And you all are now very keenly aware that one of them is gone.
Man, Zeros was a little nerd as a kid, wasn't he?
Salacia is on the immediate end of that sentence, elbows Virgil as hard as she possibly can telepathically.
Now, you are energy, but you can see one of the energy forms just, and the other one just kind of like just flare out in the other direction.
I don't know how I felt that exactly, but that really hurt.
I really wanted you to.
So, Al, first of all, again, Al, but okay. So, is this part of the whole inner soul searching thing that you talked about, and then boom, appeared in the world you were in?
I would like to expand my consciousness to see whose form is missing.
Zeros, roll intuition for me.
It's you.
Oh wow, that's a max intuition roll.
You!
So, Zeros,
You
you
go.
realize what you realize is you're no longer in the group of beams of energy floating about in this space. You realize you are in this moment, and what everyone now realizes is as you're looking, everyone sees the moment, and standing to the side, and now you can keenly see the resemblance between them, is the grown Zeros, who is now watching this moment.
Oh.
I have a question, and this is probably going to be awful, but
Hit me.
can the people in the is this a the people in the memory see me?
At this moment, you're just watching. Now, are you asking if you can try to mess with it?
I don't necessarily want to mess with it like a whole lot, but I do want to. The thing I want to do is to make contact with the kid version of myself.
Go ahead and roll guts for me. Actually,
Guts, you say?
roll spirit for me.
Spirit, huh? Okay, a straight spirit roll?
Yeah, just spirit plus D10.
Okay, that is a 12.
Go ahead and do what you're gonna do, and let me parse out how I'm going to do this based on your roll.
So, it's basically, I'm going to make eye contact with the kid as he puts an apple in his mouth. The reason why is because I want to give him just like the briefest glimpse into the person he becomes.
So, in this case, because you're only trying to mess with the kid, what everyone notices is it's almost like, the best way I can describe it, it's almost like Zeros himself was in proper high definition, and the rest of this vision was in standard definition. Like, it was a bit muggy, was a bit muddled, the colors weren't all perfectly bright. And suddenly, the area around Zeros takes on more color, like him, and begins to flutter towards the child and surround him and air floor around him. And child Zeros looks back and sees Zeros and smiles with the piece of fruit in the mouth, knowingly.
Zeros the kid understands doesn't necessarily understand everything that's going on, but definitely understands that his parents are very stressed and is trying to make them less so as a kid.
Right.
But I think this definitely kind of sets him on the path that he eventually takes to end up in the army when he gets older.
Speaking of, Beatrix.
Also, yeah, I'm locked in time loops. This is the future that I have now because I have gone back to mess with it.
Beatrix,
Ooh.
or her voice is heard saying, I wonder, are these visions, or did these things happen?
This particular thing happened to me at a very young age.
No, I mean, I interacted with mine too. And it feels weird. It almost felt like I was supposed to.
I don't know if we should or shouldn't, but I've always been one to find out.
And as you say that, slowly everyone comes to this realization that everything's pulling away. And the group is sort of reforming into these energy signatures and traveling forward again away from that constellation of energy.
I do leave one last bit of a message. Oh, by the way, you also meet really cool people.
The kid Zeros, when that happens, gives big thumbs up. Very happy with this news. And with that, you all begin floating forward again.
Zeros, that was heartening to see. I think it's hard to know that we all made the choice and that we're all here and that we all will see things we'll regret and do things we regret. But I think I've always viewed us as, more than just people in the army, and I think in the military, I guess. And I think, I don't know, it was good to see into your heart for a second.
Very rare that people ever get the chance. This is a war.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
We promise not to tell anybody that you have one.
I'm not worried about all of you telling as much as I'm worried about Virgil telling, but I figure if we've known each other this long and he hasn't spoiled it yet, I'm safe from everyone else.
Well, I tell you that when you were a kid, you had a really big head, like a freakishly big head. Because you did. You had a really big head as a kid.
Fallon
Why are you
punches
being
you
mean right now?
like
Once
dead
again-
arms. Just straight up
Once
punches
again,
you.
energy signature boom and just flares out.
Well, I will say, for all of his ribbing, well, we'll tell that story if that memory appears.
And now
Well, I mean,
you
it's-
are all.
I mean, it's not much of a story. I mean, okay, look, when we first met, I was a kid, and I said, "Hey, what's up, big head?" And Zeros turned to me and said that Zero voice, "My head is so big because it's full of knowledge and intelligence to outwit you, you muscle-bound oaf." And then became friends after that.
I'm so gallant. I said, please continue. You are
I
all.
would say that's only mildly accurate.
You are all very aware that, unlike in the beginning, when you were kind of just moving towards emptiness and there was stuff around you, there is now another one of these sort of energy galaxies directly in the path you're going on. Whether this is that Virgil has thrown you into a new course, or this was how it was always going to be, you're not sure. But you're heading towards another one of these. And as you get closer, you see once again, almost like cutting through the static noise of it all, an image comes into view of a young girl standing very proudly in position right next to an older woman. Both of them standing very regal, looking over something, and you see the mother sort of wave and motion almost like an instruction of some kind is going on. And you see both of them have long braids. And the mother's giving instruction over here, instruction over there. It says, and remember, while we may use our powers in these different ways, the one that's inside you, you must never try to control it. That hubris was the very thing that led us here.
I won't try to control it, but I don't understand why I have to be afraid of it.
Sometimes a little fear is a good thing.
How much fear is a good thing, though?
Enough to make sure that you don't ever cause any issues to yourself or anyone you care about.
Mother, Your Majesty. We live in the middle.
At the mother, before you correct it, you see a little...
Your Majesty. We are as isolated from society as we could possibly be. Nobody comes to bother us. And it's been years since anyone's rule was challenged, and I fear the fool who would challenge yours. Isn't there another way?
Pumpkin, listen. You will understand when you're older, but there's always a bigger fool than you think out there. She looks away, and you're all not perfectly sure, but it feels for a moment like she's looking in the exact direction of the energy beam that is Virgil.
If I'm to rule someday, if that is still the plan and it's not going to Deianira or Cassithia, I don't want to be the kind of ruler that teaches my people to be afraid of themselves.
Dear, if you become ruler and do it differently, just understand, if anything happens, you have to live with that. This has worked for keeping everyone safe.
I think that would be true of any decision. As a leader, I'm meant to be a shield for my people, and any decision that I make that isn't in their best interest should be something that I have to live with.
I've taught you as best I can. I just have to trust that you grow up to be who I've always known you were. But I hope you'll understand my reason one day.
I understand your reason now, I just hate it.
There's lots of things I hate too. But I'd hate someone falling prey even more.
I don't understand why we're still paying for a mistake that was made 1,000 years ago.
Because of that bigger fool that's always out there. And that's the kind of thing that happens when you make a decision based on you instead of based on everyone.
I have a thought about that, actually. I have never left this village. I love it with the entirety of my heart and all of the people in it, most especially you and Deianira and Cassithia, and Sugar, who at this point is just a baby. But I haven't lived enough or seen enough to someday stand where you stand. I'm trying my best not to be impertinent, but I would like to ask your permission to see a little bit of the world.
you see her sort of she's clearly thinking. I understand what you're saying, but and you can see she is the mother and the leader are very much so at war right in this moment. You can tell she's not sitting here immediately pushing away at what Salacia is saying. But she is definitely kind of at war about it. And then finally she says, Salacia Farsiris, you are the princess. You're my princess. And I have to trust you're the princess I needed, that I knew you could be.
I can go.
Yes. But I need you to remember this. And she puts her hands on Salacia's shoulders, says, don't ever forget who you are or where you come from. No matter what goes on in the rest of this world, you are Salacia Farsiris. You are a princess, and you will always be my princess. And at this point, during that whole talk, it's the same thing as before, where most of it is in standard definition, but you all realize little girl Salacia is not there anymore, and big Salacia is in her place, hearing these words at this moment.
So,
Virgil, if you
all right.
want...
I'm not. Nope, not gonna say
Yep.
anything. Not gonna say anything. Nope.
If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all.
I have tons of nice things I want to say right now.
Nice by our standards, Virgil. Crickets. That's what I thought.
Your mother is a beautiful woman.
Grown up Salacia turns her head just slightly and says, I will kill you the minute we get back into our bodies.
Oh,
So
a minute. That sounds gracious. I thought certainly it would be seconds.
No,
I'll
he
need
needs
time
all
to adjust
60.
myself.
Yes. Salacia, princess, queen. These are monarchical
Your
terms.
Majesty.
Should we be addressing you? Do you want us to address you differently?
Please don't. Please never. No.
Okay.
If I might respectfully interject, I feel it would be best for us to just address Salacia as she's introduced herself.
I agree. That's
If
surprising.
Okay by you.
We're very secretive people, as you can see, and she kind of looks admiringly up at her mother. This is the Queen Aloysia, our mother.
And
So who
when
we're
that
gonna go meet?
happens, you see the color forming around the Queen Aloysia, who looks around and looks where the groups were, this time actually looking at the various energy signatures. And it's almost like she's not surprised or confused by the moment. And she just kind of... I see you remembered who you were.
Permission to hug, Your Majesty.
She doesn't even say permission granted. She just pulls you in. And she says, I said it back then, and I'm always gonna mean it. You're a princess. You're my princess. And she gives her a little kiss on the head.
I cannot wait for you to meet my friends.
I'm excited for it too. And with that, flooding away, everything starts pulling away from that vision, and you realize once again you're all beams, all energy, floating and traveling once again.
Virgil, like came like looking ahead, standing next to Salacia. Is still like looking directly ahead, just kind of like keeping like the horizon in the distance. He's like, yeah, I'm glad you made those right choices too. You know, followed your guts and everything. And he like lightly punches her in the shoulder.
She coughs slightly, and I think stumbles, like disperses a little bit from the bump, and then Virgil hears, well, I certainly wouldn't have gotten here without you. And then her figure speeds up just a little bit.
You see the one trying as the group begins trying to catch up, just a little bit faster than the rest.
And a paladin. Interesting.
And as you all continue floating through this space, you see another of these constellations. But the energy feels a little different. It's not quite as bright. It's a little bit darker. And as you approach, again, a view comes into play, and it's a vision, and you start seeing soldiers and attacks and battle, and there's arrows flying and bodies dropping. Everything is chaos. Swords being plunged through people, lances being thrown, fire magic flinging, ice magic flinging, bullets being rang out, bodies just dropping left and right. It is pure terror. And in the midst of it all, you see a big circle with just one warrior standing in the middle of it, and men one by one running in, doing combat, and then at twos, swinging a lance around, striking, fighting. And on that note, we're going to go for a brief break.
You're a bad man. You're a bad man.
You're
horrible.
going. I'm sending you to DM prison, to GM.
On that note, we are going to take a brief break.
We are calling the local authorities to come and collect this man. Repeat, local authorities to come and collect this GM. We're taking him to court immediately.
So we shall be back in vaguely 7-ish minutes. Okay, at 7:55, we will return with the second half of our episode. Thank you folks so much. I'm already turning off my headphones so they can yell at me all they want, but I can't hear them. And we're going to transition into the break. You can return if you want to see more with us. We will be back in, like I said, about 7 minutes. We'll see you folks on the other side. And we are back from our little fun time break action that everybody had fun with and was happy about.
We're mad at you.
Uh-huh.
We are so
Still haven't
furious
been
at
arrested.
Jason literally like screenshotted chat and went on Twitter and was like, "You want to know why everyone's mad at Josh?" And my reaction was to just go,
Yes.
"Excellent."
Yes. Like I mean, that was just rude of you.
Disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Gosh.
Making a whole ass Kingdom Hearts style episode. I can't with you.
Listen, I never said it was all gonna be happy and rainbows and sunshine.
That's what I signed up for.
Y'all
You said
let your
Happy
guard
Rainbow
down.
Sunshine, fantasy, Final Fantasy.
Y'all
That's
let
what
your
I
guard
heard.
That was a you thing.
Rude.
Okay.
So we
So
can
But
protect our necks.
Mm-mm.
I'm the one who makes song title references with every episode, okay? You can't come in here with that. Okay. But, yeah, I'm not going to be evil. We're going to get right back to it.
Oh, we're not gonna be. Y'all, I need to understand that this went with one person
Not going to
surrounded
be
by people
evil.
running up on them with lances. It's not gonna be evil.
Not gonna be evil. This is the
Do not
Flynn
believe him.
Rider
Do not
sitting
believe
like
him.
this
This is-
with all the swords around him moment. And I'm just like, I'm fine. Everything's fine. We're all fine.
I'm not going to be evil. Don't believe him. This person, like, that's believing that Christopher Columbus gives good directions. Don't
First
do
of
it.
all, first of all, don't hit me with that. Don't do that. Second of all,
Where's the inaccuracy?
so you see this battlefield. Bodies flying, just getting stabbed, getting struck, getting crushed, limbs getting struck down, and there is this one warrior fighting off two people at a time, one person at a time, just using a lance, swinging around. And this is clearly a skilled warrior. And enemies start massing in, and more allies start massing in, limiting up the space that was around. So you have a harder time viewing and picking out exactly where the one warrior was. And then, suddenly, in the midst of all this, you hear off to the side like a faint, it's almost like a whistling noise. Like and out of nowhere, just this giant amorphous bomb, for lack of a better way of putting it, of this purple-hued energy comes flying down, striking that exact area. And you notice very briefly the exact warrior you were seeing before kind of takes his lance and throws it up like so, pointed upwards, almost like trying to strike the attack and like overpower it, and it begins tunneling down, and there is some force against it, but you see the spear that's in his hands. His hands seem like they're getting closer, and you realize the wood in the area between is beginning to bend and give, and it snaps. And because of the position he's in, his right arm is the first thing that gets hit as his whole body is collapsed downward by what remainder of energy there is. And it is just, the energy seems to linger in that spot like a cloud, almost like an explosion had just gone off. And as it dissipates, you see there is actually a bit of a crater left. And almost every body around, pieces have been blown off. Even the ones that survived, everyone is very clearly dead. And then you see that warrior trying to get up using just a left arm. And his right arm is just hanging limply by him. Almost looking like it's on fire, but it's purple. And he's swinging his body, trying anything, but it's just hanging there. And the scene gets fuzzy.
The warrior, like, is standing there in that field, and he is just trying to do something with his arm. His left hand reaches up, grabs the helmet, and pulls it off. And you see Virgil there. But and this is the first time you've ever seen an expression like this on his face. He looks scared. He looks broken. He actually looks frightened. He looks the total opposite of anything you've ever seen him right now. And he falls to his knees, and it just all hits him what happened, and he just starts sobbing.
And you see the scene gets fuzzy. And it's like things... It almost becomes like a Viewmaster. How you keep clicking between scenes, and you see a collapse in around him and expand. And through the whole time, this version of Virgil does not move. He is there. He does not move. Everything else changes around this one figure. And it collapses and expands, and you see soldiers rushing in around the area. And it collapses and expands, and you see a few come up that have staves and look for a brief moment like medics, but before you can even process, collapse and expand, and you see they're blasting magic at him, but it's very oppositional. It doesn't look like aggressors. You have to assume, again, they're healers. They're trying to heal him. And it collapses and expands, and you see them looking very confused and unsure of what's going on, and it collapses and expands, and you see them stop casting, all with very concerned expressions, and it collapses and it expands, and you see some of the bodies around in the crater begin twitching, and it collapses and it expands, and you see what is specifically moving is anything that was blown away, where there are skeletal remains, and it collapses and it expands, and you see a few skeletons beginning to stand and realize it was in fact necromantic magic that struck in the first place, and it collapses and it expands, and you see these healers begin blasting holy aligned magic against these things, and they fall, and it collapses and expands, and you see people shouting, "Get him out of here!" as they realize that Virgil is okay. And it collapses and expands, and he's not there anymore. He's in a tent. And there's a field doctor standing by him. And now it's like snippets of conversation. "I'm sorry." Collapse, expand. "We tried." Collapse, expand. "There is no known fix." Collapse, expand. "We're not sure what did it." Collapse, expand. Suddenly, the doctor's gone. And there is an older, grizzled-looking lancer there, looking down at him. Collapse, expand. Nothing is said. Collapse, expand. It's still quiet. Collapse, expand. "I'm sorry, son." Collapse, expand. "A dragoon needs a lance." Collapse, expand. "Without an arm, I'd be sending you to your death." Collapse, expand. He's no longer in the tent. He's alone in a field, still on that knee, head down, afraid, standing there, and just silent.
Virgil tries to walk out towards that.
And suddenly you realize you're Virgil. This other Virgil isn't much younger, but he was younger. This isn't the current Virgil. He's obviously different. But your Virgil is standing a few feet behind this Virgil. And he's in focus. And the other Virgil is also in focus.
So, they told me I can't be a dragoon anymore. You're saying that because a dragon needs two hands to hold a lance. And now I can't. Listen, kid, stop. We don't do that. We don't do that. And you see this Virgil like reaches a hand out and puts a hand on the other Virgil's shoulder, and it's the bandaged up hand. Look. In this path we all take, there's gonna be things that happen to us. There's gonna be setbacks. There's gonna be stumbling blocks. But what you need to do is this. And like he gives his hand a squeeze. Whenever you fall off that horse, you stand up, you brush your legs off, get up, and you get back on that horse. If you fall off again, well, fuck it. You don't need a horse. You can walk. Once you realize, you start walking, you start running. A run leads to a leap, jump, and you trust me. You're gonna get back to right where you were before. And you're gonna be even better. And maybe one day, you'll be strong as me. Well, probably not. That's physically impossible. But you're gonna be amazing. All right? Yeah. I guess so. But wait. Why would I get off of... No, don't question the logic. But why would I get off if I fell off the horse the second time? Why would I just keep on walking? Why would I just get back on the horse? Because you don't need the... The metaphor is the whole thing. You're supposed to rely on your own self, not to have to rely on some kind of crutch that is holding you back. Look, you're gonna be fine. And he gives himself a shove and heads back into the sphere with the others.
As you try to head back, you see that Virgil and you, that Virgil sort of steps into you, and you become one. And when you try to step out, you notice it's not right there. You can't right away. And then you begin hearing it faintly. How do you know? 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 What if? What if? What if? What if? What if? You begin, they're at different frequencies, but it feels like it's getting louder. What if it happens again? What if it happens? What if you fall? What if you fall? What if you get hurt? What if you get hurt? How do you know? How do you know? How do you know? What if you become useless again?
What if I do become useless again? What if I don't have that purpose again?
Josh, can we still see the window? Salation knocks on it.
I see all of you coming to the same conclusion, and I'm just gonna go.
What if I break myself?
And Virgil, do me a favor. Everyone, all 4 of you, roll spirit for me.
Oh.
Yes!
I got a critical fail. I rolled a 1.
Whatever.
18.
Okay. So
I'm throwing all the dice I have in here to this.
whatever's the highest one.
Okay,
Roll with
cool.
mega advantage.
I mean, we're joking, but I did it. Okay. One of those was absolutely a 10 though, so I'm the best.
For the purpose of story, I'm gonna take it. So what does that give you?
An 18. Like
Sure.
Salacia,
Fallon,
which seems very poignant.
you're muted.
I'm annoying. I got an 11.
That's fine. And Virgil, what does that 1 lead to?
So that leaves me at a for spirit. That
2?
leaves me. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Actually a 7. That's a 7. Yeah, 7 for spirit.
Beautiful. Okay.
It's a wonderful failure.
So, Virgil, everyone's actions are successful because of your conviction. Your energy allows you to go up to this bubble and try and reach your energy through knocking, talking, whatever it is. But Virgil's own internal battle is stronger than expected, and the noises also get louder. That doesn't mean he doesn't hear the knocking and he doesn't hear you, but he very clearly still hears these voices inside his head.
Can I use a technique in this energy form?
Okay,
Same question.
both of y'all go for it.
Okay. If I may, I would like to be selfish and go first because why not? And besides, y'all already heard a thing, so it's faint. You hear there's whispering, and I like to imagine that these voices sound like those look like those rogue figures from the Final Fantasy VII remake that are walking around trying to do redacted things.
Yes,
Okay.
it's a good call.
I am going to you're going to see a pair of white wings appear with a halo. I'm going to hover off of the ground just a bit, and lances are going to start appearing. And I would like to aim the lances at basically the figures that I can see.
So what it would be more akin to is as each voice rings out, because of your awareness of what's going on, you see flits of dark energy every time a voice rings out around Virgil. So in this case, as the lances ring down, every time a flit appears, you see a lance strike down. Not getting all of them. There are absolutely still some flits that are making it through. But, so as a result, Virgil, you notice all of a sudden that the voices are getting quieter? There's fewer. They're not before it was like they were deafening. They were just so many of them yelling at you. And all of a sudden, it's like some of them are dying off. Salacia, you also had something you wanted to do?
I sure do. I rolled a 14 on my resolve to activate the malevolent entity in my blood.
All right.
Salacia.
You are in your ascended mode.
Salacia reaches one clawed hand back and sort of grabs onto Zeros' belt, wings and all. And Salacia is going to attempt to not knock, but reach straight through and touch Virgil.
All right. Given what you've already rolled, hitting an 18 and a 14, I'm just going to allow it. And Virgil, you hear these voices, you hear them, they're shouting, what if you use this, what if you fall? And then, all at once, as they've started quieting a little bit, but they're still very there, they stop. And you see the form of Salacia in front of you, staring at you.
Let's go home.
But what if I fail you guys? What if it just happens all over again? What if I hurt myself again and I don't serve a purpose to any of you?
I will say also, with the breakthrough, all of you, like, it's like because you're acting as a collective group, all of you feel like you can interact in this moment.
Well, the marked difference between then and now is that you were alone then, and you're not now. So what if you get injured? We appreciate your skills with the lance, Virgil, but it's not why we keep you around.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, you're an incredible warrior. We just saw that for ourselves, but we keep you around because you're a friend. So you can't really become useless in that regard.
Oh,
Virgil. We've been friends for a very long time. During that time, you didn't use a lance, and I'm still here.
Virgil puts his hands on the floor. He stands up. His back is to everyone. And he just goes, fuck. Well, all right, let's get going. Enough of this pity shit. And he walks right past all of them without, like, not looking at any of them in the face as he's walking right past them. Yep, none of this pity party bullshit for me. What was me? Blah, blah, blah. I'm sad. I got friends and whatever. And as he's walking inside, you see the camera is on his face, though. You do see him crying. Tears of joy as he walks inside.
I'm going to tell you a secret. Watch him for like another 3 seconds. And then I'm just going to join the other energy forms in moving.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, the group moves away from this memory and this vision And you begin traveling once again through this flow. And as you do, you once again start aiming right towards another one of these energy galaxies. And you come in close. And as usual, it comes into view slowly, but there. And you wonder, what are we going to see this time? And you see a workshop. A workshop filled to the brim with what I can only describe as stuff. There's gears over here, cogs over there, beams, girders, something. It's machinery, but it's all just mishmashed, and you wonder, all of it looks very old and very foreign, and there are two long tables full of various tools and pieces. They're clearly work desks. There's a big forge at the end, and all of this, and you see someone who looks very familiar. A teenage girl, but slightly more teen-age and less aged in this particular view, only a couple years ago, runs in here. And you see her with a bag thrown down on the table, and you see her grabbing everything she can, just throwing in at mishmash. There's a wrench, there's a hammer, there's everything you can imagine, all types of random stuff. You see a gun get thrown in there all at once, and as you pay close attention, you see she has a black eye, and she has a scrape on her face, and a few on her elbows and what have you. Looks like she's just been in a little bit of a tussle. And suddenly you see an older gentleman walk in behind. So you had a good day, I take it.
I don't need you to stop me.
You see him walk up, and he grabs a spanner from the other table and walk over to put it on the bag. Said, "Who said anything about stopping you?" Tosses it in the bag.
Can I have your drill?
That drill?
Yeah, that drill.
You see him walk over and grab it and walk toward her and act like he's handing it towards her. This drill right here?
Yes, that drill. I will hold my hand out and try to
As she goes to grab it, you see him do a little flipping motion in his hand. This drill. You want this drill right here. Just to be sure. You see him put it down in the bag, and then he pulls out a small towel from his side pouch and walks up, and he wipes away at the scratch on her face and says,
She doesn't look him in the eyes.
"The world is really big and really scary. And I know who my daughter is. And I know you want to see every last inch of it. I just don't know if you're ready for it yet."
I think I am. I don't think anybody in this town understands me. I don't think anybody... I want to make them regret this. I want them to regret treating me like this and thinking that I'm less than them, because I'm not.
Exactly. You're not less than them. And you never will be. But I mean, I don't know if I'm ready yet.
Ready for what? To give up your drill?
Yes. To give up this drill. And you see him reach into the pouch because he had swapped it with the towel and pull it back out. And he says, you know the thing about this drill? I remember the first day I brought this drill home. I remember the late nights I spent watching over this drill and making sure that nothing happened. Heck, sometimes I would get up in the middle of the night just to go look at this drill and make sure it was okay and watch it sleep. Drill sleep, by the way. I don't know if you know that.
Interesting.
And I remember when this drill was only 6-7 years old and came in here and put together an old energy mogrifier. And I knew then and there that this drill was special and that this house would only hold this drill for so long. I spent a long time preparing, but I always said I'd make you wait. How's this? I'll help you, and you can have this very drill in a year. Can I have one more year? That's it. And then I'll let you go wherever you want to go.
With that drill. And your wrench. The big one.
The big wrench?
The big one.
That's my favorite wrench.
I know, but my muscles are getting bigger. I feel like...
Leave it to me to make, like, the strongest person alive. Well, and you see him go and grab the wrench and do one of these as he's pulling back. Second strongest.
Every
Of
time,
course.
every
You know,
time,
you know what time it is. You know.
Yeah, listen. I don't want to run away. Not from you.
I know.
I don't want you to think that you did anything. It's just... These people... They make you become like them, or they make you bleed. And it feels like I'm refusing every single day. It feels like I am fighting every single day, and it's getting to the point... It's just... I won't let them make me bleed anymore.
Fallon. And you see him lay the wrench next to the bag and come up to you. I tried to prep you for everything you might run into. But I never thought to prep you for the fact that the world is gonna envy who you are, and that some people, little people, weak people, people who wish they had your gifts, will use it as a way to attack you. I know you're not running from me. I hate that I happen to be where they are. But listen, you are my greatest invention. Of all the things I've made, nothing brings me pride like you. And nothing ever will.
Fallon rushes forward. I rush forward, and I'm not the filled out, person that you all are used to. I'm langy, like gangly bones and muscles that sit atop those bones, and yet this hug fits so perfect. And I just rest in it and start crying. And you don't even hear it. You can just see the shoulders rising in that like erratic way, and it's just very, very raw sobbing.
I am always going to love you. Whether you're here or halfway across the world, making the next great thing. But just remember that to me, it doesn't matter what you make. You will always be the next great thing for me.
And I promise that I'll always come back.
I know.
I'll never forget, and I'll never go too far. I'll show them, and I'll come back, and we can be happy.
As long as you come back, I'll always be happy. But I want you to be happy too.
She just hugs him again.
Hugs are close, and then goes to the side and has like the arm over the shoulders situation, looking down at the bag, and he's like, I think we need to go over the inventory, by the way, because there's like you weren't really looking. There's like 3 hammers in there.
That was on purpose, okay?
What do you need 3 hammers for? You didn't even grab 3 different hammers. It's not like you grabbed a regular hammer and a ball peen and a claw. They're just regular hammers.
What if I break the first one and then lose the second one?
What if you break a hammer? Have you thought of just not breaking the hammer?
Actually, no.
There is loud, raucous laughing that I am pretty sure everyone in that associated scene can hear.
Oh, Virgil?
Fallon,
went from a course-
you come into that Technicolor view as you've been, and you realize you're inside this moment, and now the gangly, scrawnier Fallon is replaced by the filled out muscle bro Fallon that we've all come to know and love. And you're aware of the laughter of everyone off to the side as their energy incorporeal forms are.
I stand in front of my dad, and as we're arguing about it, I take a wrench off, like, from the side and just flick it up behind me and stay staring at my dad.
Once again, somehow, you all are very intuitively clear that this is Virgil's energy orb, where the wrench goes whistling through the air and just like, and you see the wrench break through and the form just, and Virgil clearly caught that.
Yeah, he was pointing and laughing, and it's just bam, gets hit by the wrench and falls backwards.
And the energy kind of rolls back a bit before rolling back in towards the party.
Ooh.
Can can I see my father right now? Or am I outside of this memory?
No, you're in the moment. In this moment, this is going to be a situation where you haven't actively tried to interact with your father as you consciously. You can attempt to do that now if you'd like, much like how the others have before.
I think I will... I'm replacing my past self, right?
Yes.
Like in my position. Great. I will take the hand cannons that I created that have these beautiful engraved golden gilded letters on them, these runes on them. And there's 2 of them. I think that like it's very apparent that I have my big ol' like wrench on my back, but I think that these like hand cannons, I just hold one of them forward and look at it, and I look up at him and I just say, I think I did it. I don't know if you can hear me, but I hope you're proud of me.
And as that gets said, everyone sees the ground coming more into definition up to and around Alan's father, and then including him. And if you look, you realize Fallon's only but so much younger. This could only have been a couple years ago. Was only but so much younger. Could only have been a couple years ago. But as you look, you see her father, where he had clearly just black hair before. By his temples, you notice a little bit of gray that wasn't there before. Not a lot, but just enough that it almost looks like time has passed. And you see him looking down and look up and smile. Of course you did. Of course you did.
That wrench was probably the best gift I've ever been given. I'm glad that I waited.
I still expect that back, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Maybe I'll come back and visit and I can convince you to just let me have it.
I don't know. I think it's gonna take at least like a couple of days over coffee. It's gonna take a while to convince me.
I think it'll be a very long debate. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like a month or something.
Proud of you, kid. Proud of you.
I love you.
Love you too. With all my heart.
I think this is when she chooses to leave out of this moment.
And
But I think she puts her hand on his shoulder, or out for him to hold, I guess, as she disappears.
So you see, she puts the hand out, and he grabs it with both of his hands around either side as she begins to float away from that image back to the group, which now begins once again floating away from everything.
Virgil is just sobbing.
Salatia's a mess. Just worthless.
So, Fallon, oh, damn. I wasn't aware that you had such a powerful family unit, and like, my dad was kind of distant from me because all really we focused on was being a soldier, and so we really didn't have a relationship like that. But me and my mom, we were like that. We were really close. Does that remind you of me and my mom? Oh, damn. I need a moment.
You want to take a lap? You want to take a lap?
I'm gonna take a lap. I'm gonna take a lap around the bubble. I'm going.
Okay.
Here.
You just see, one of the little energy things just.
Yeah. Yep, take another
Take it a second lap. Take it a second. It takes a moment. It takes a moment, but it comes back around.
I suppose. What we're learning today is that we have 2 sets of parents to visit at least.
I think so. Your dad seems real nice, Fallon.
He's probably the best man I know. Yeah.
You're gonna
He's-
have a very hard time keeping that wrench.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna definitely. I feel like my energy should be spent. I don't know why I'm trying to make literal guns when I can just make a literal copy of the drill and give him the copy and then have the original. I don't know why my priorities until now have been.
Fallon, I'm gonna tell you, let you in on a secret. They know. Parents know. You try to fake it. One time I broke my mom's shield. She thought I did. I thought I was gonna replace it, like, by just painting over it. Oh, she knew. She knew it. And I did a really good job replacing that shield.
They always know.
Damn it! I really like that drill.
Well, what if you, first of all, with the wrench, what if you just, we get into a fight and you do something crazy with it, something real wild and heroic that buff people like you do. And then you can tell in the story, and it's exactly, you can tell in the story, and it's, it's part of your fighting shtick now. It's an important tool.
That's true. I think he'll make a big fuss about it at first, but it won't be too hard to actually hold on to it once he knows how many times it's absolutely saved my ass. So I don't know. It's a very weird thing, I think. I don't know. I don't know how much everyone saw, but yeah, he's home.
Oh, we saw enough. We saw enough that I need to know, who the hell do I need to beat up that made you cry? Because, I wasn't also prepared for that too.
Yeah, when I was younger, I dealt a lot, and I still kind of do, deal with anger issues, and so, as bad as I was, really, there was 3 or 4 other guys on the other side of that fight, and that was all they could do to me. Let's just say that. They weren't as lucky, but that was just kind of the breaking point, I think. That was kind of the day I pushed everything to its limit.
I hope it's a little better with us.
Oh, it's way better. I think I've never truly been known by people or never truly understood. I think I've been looking for you guys my entire life, and I'm glad that I'm here now. And I'm glad that I ran, but I'm just realizing family can exist in many spaces, and I don't know, I just hope we can continue staying family and I can introduce you to mine. Well, the rest of my family are all terrible, but my dad's great. My dad's absolutely great.
Well, hey, whatever we do after this, we could go visit your parents and talk about how great you are.
My mom would absolutely hate that unless we were at a ball of some sort and talking about how great I was happening to everyone else. My dad, on the other hand, would find it quite amusing, I think.
I am a princess. If she wants a ball, we can have a ball.
Well,
Still processing that.
As I'm
It's
sitting
from the
here
other
thinking about
either.
this, there's so many different things that we can probably do in the future.
That's very true.
Who knows? Maybe
yeah.
we can build a ballroom.
I like the idea that we all ran to, not from.
This is true. I
Yeah.
think this is definitely a nice place to land.
And as you're all floating, you continue to float through this space. And you see, as it's been, another bit of energy before you. And as you approach, you all get closer and you see a view coming into vision. It's very odd. You definitely don't recognize, none of you recognize the moment. And what you see before you is 3 vague silhouettes in a very dark room. And light begins filling it, but very little. And each of the silhouettes is very shadowy and hard to make out. So are you sure this is going to work?
Yes. We need to know if this is going to help us or not.
Don't worry about it. Trust me. I've planned for the eventualities. Listen, I'm not going to go this whole time without payment. So you're going to pay me before it's all over. What I want. And you realize one of the figures, the shadows peel back just a bit, and you can see that voice you just heard at the end was Gofford Gafgarian.
Yes, don't worry. That part will be arranged very soon. That's not the issue I have.
And you see the figure to the left. The shadows begin peeling back a bit. And the skeletal masked face of Anatolos is there as they begin peeling back. And you can tell that's who the figures on the right and left are. And the central figure, I have planned for all eventualities. I assure you, we will see our goal done. And the light begins clearing. But he's standing with his back towards you. But you can make out long, shoulder-length black hair and silver armor that just the shoulder pads and the body and everything down stays obscured. Everyone roll intuition.
Let's go.
That is that's a 14 for me.
16.
That is a 12.
Also a 12.
Of course. And all of you, Salacia first, Virgil next, and then Fallon and Zeros, moments after that, are hearing this person speak. We will see our task done. I have set up everything I need to. It has been months upon months of planning and work. Every last chess piece has been set on the board, and we will find our way forward with all the pawns we need. Trust the plan. And you realize you vaguely recognize that hair. You vaguely recognize that armor. You vaguely recognize that voice. The man speaking is the head of Salvation, one of the 3 great warriors of Ivalis, Melchior Tingiel.
Oh, Jesus.
Fudge.
But what is this all for, anyways? Like, what are we doing this about? Why not just go yourself?
Because, as I've explained, there are steps. Everything is done in order. And sometimes you must get pawns to do your bidding in order to see the end of a chess match. If you move your queen every turn, eventually she gets taken.
Yes, but my question is, what is the end goal of it all as well? Like, is it just for you?
No. No, we will reset order in Ivalis. And then, with one unified Ivalis, we will finally end this war. We will crush Ordalia and all that it is. And we will see peace with us above it all. vision fades away. And all of you are just now floating in this etheric void.
At some point, we're going to have to collect our thoughts about this.
Yeah.
Because we're certain that means one thing I had considered, which was going back to the castle to see about it, is now unnecessary.
So then, what were we even doing all this time?
Playing fetch.
Points in books, I suppose. But this might be a good thing.
How? We just found out everything we've been doing has not even been benefiting any situation. Just all it's been helping them out. Who knows what they've been planning?
Well, here is a very important thing, and I think you know this. You would know this better than anyone, especially knowing me. Knowing who your enemies are is helpful, especially when they do not know that you are aware. And now you know who our friends are, and at least some of who our enemies are.
For the
We
first
haven't
time in a
done-
bit, you also hear the voice of General Beatrix, who has been floating along this whole time, chiming in. It can be hard when someone who you thought you trusted or knew betrays you. But it's better to know. And if they don't know you know, all the better.
For we have only done a little, and imagine the disappointment if we had gone back to tell him all we knew, only for him to turn around and use it for a thing like this.
Okay. Well, regardless of that, we kind of, lost track of the one person who has an item that these guys now suddenly want.
And up ahead, as you say that, you see this is different. It's not like the little idle energy flows you've been flying by. There is a surging mass of energy pulsating. A blue orb, somehow in this weird, off-color, non-corporeal form. You can see it's a blue orb surging all throughout. And as you come close to it, you all begin to hear a voice.
Did that sound like a warning to anybody else?
It sounded like someone was trying to tell us something. Telling us why we are trespassing here.
You come to the realm of the immortal and Bandians slaves. There are those of mine with ancient ways.
We mean no disrespect.
And we ask for mercy. We don't mean to bandy about.
You are
I do not worry about such fickle matters. So long as I am set free, the remainder is irrelevant.
And as that gets said, you see in the center of this surge, it's almost the exterior of the surge is like a cage of energy. And in the middle, there's a single wavering figure that looks like one of your energies. And you make out the two crisscrossed lines of the symbol of Aquarius.
Oh. Well, that's what we need right there.
Beatrix, have you run into this before?
No, this is... I'm familiar with that symbol. That is Aquarius, but I could not tell you what this is.
This must be the very power of the stone.
You
Son of man. Perhaps you might be the one to thank. Who knows? But remember, my power is the power of gods.
And with that, all of you begin to feel the energy increasing in its pulsation, and it enwraps all of you. And it's almost like a turbocharge, and you all get rocketed forward. And as you rocket through the energy of it all, and rocket through this tube, suddenly it's like going at a massive velocity. You see the light begins breaking, and little flits of color begin breaking through, and out of nowhere, all of it suddenly comes into view as the world as you know it, and boom, 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 boom. All of you are suddenly standing in some forest clearing. And as you look around, you see your five are here. Beatrix has not come with you. And in the center of this group, you're all almost formed, including Feldspar, as a sort of pentagram shape around it, at 5 even points. And in the center between you all is the stone, floating in the air and glinting. And you hear once again,
Do not seek to use my power, mortals, for your little escapades, and silence anyone knowing that is wounded. Or you will regret. Seek not to bring about my life.
Yeah, well,
For fanfright is not to trust.
and with that, the stone stops shining and drops to the ground.
oh, screw you too. I mean, thanks for letting us use your power or something, whatever.
I mean, it solves one problem, which is what to do with the stone. It doesn't work anymore, then it's just a rock.
Well, this solves. Yeah, you're right.
I have a feeling that that is not the case, but hopefully we will not have to find out.
I'm gonna hope so much.
I see this as a proper future us.
Where is this?
Salacia, you would recognize these woods as you grew up around them. You're very near to your childhood home.
We're almost there. Come on, come on. And in an unusual fit of excitement, Salacia will first take Sugar out of like the hood of her coat and allow Sugar to roam free, and is not sprinting, but is running in a very childlike fashion in the direction of the village. She will stop running and straighten herself up before she gets to the boundaries of the village.
And as she sprints off, very joyful in a way like you haven't seen before, we will be ending today's episode of A Tale of Two Lions.
Wow. Wow.
Y'all feeling good?
Yeah.
This is such a wholesome episode.
Gosh,
Y'all
this
feeling
is
good?
Surprisingly,
great.
yes.
This is a really wholesome episode.
This is such a wholesome episode, says the guy who I literally was like, I'm gonna break you.
Look, it was wholesome. Look,
Like,
Virgil had a
mind you,
nice.
the thing that broke him was seeing an interaction with Fallon's dad. So
Yeah. Like that was some found family moments. I'm loving the found family moments, but like just seeing Virgil seeing, Fallon's dad just tugs the heartstrings.
Oh yeah.
Let me go ahead and do our sponsor stuff, and then we can go ahead and properly outro all these amazing humans and storytellers who I love so very much. First of all, big thanks to our first sponsor, Valorous Games, the creators of the Valor system. It is a wonderful, very not super rules heavy, but nice and crunchy system with a lot of good meat in it. You didn't get to see any combat this episode, but trust me, there is a lot to combat, but everything flows very smooth and very quickly once you know what you're doing, and it's an awesome system, and we are proud to be sponsored by them. If you hit !Valor in the chat, you will get a link to the Valorous Games Twitter, as well as their direct website where you can purchase the system if you're interested. And there's a link to the Kickstarter, which is actually over, and they successfully kickstarted it, yay, woo, and hit their stretch goal, which is awesome. So we are very happy about that. The other one being !Adventure. That will lead you to the Adventuring Kit website. Adventuring Kit is the virtual tabletop we use to run this game. It is a system agnostic virtual tabletop. It's fast, it's easy, it's fun. I love it. It's great. It's my one of choice. You should also use it too. You can have a free account. You can have up to 5 people in a campaign with very freeform, easy use for it. If you decide you want more than that, you'll need a premium subscription. Guess what? You use promo code GameDad, all caps, and you will get 25% off of a 1-month subscription, and you can keep using that code on a month-by-month basis. So you can get 25% off every month. No reason not to. Feel free. Do it. Save money. Reprint and the Foes book, by the way. That was the stretch goal for Valorous Games. They're also coming with, it's also, everyone who backed it and is getting a reprint is getting a full book of Foes. So, like a monster manual, but cooler. Also, it's got, like, I can tell you because I saw it, and I think they put the picture on the Kickstarter, but I saw it, like, a couple months ago when Tale of Two Lions was still in, like, creation and everything. It's got, like, a big chunky boy Leviathan picture. It's awesome. I'll share it with y'all. He's a Leviathan. He's a chunky. Okay? He's a thick boy snake dragon water god thingy. Chungus would be a good term. But enough about all of that. Wally, let the people know where they can find you. I know how that screen works.
What's up, y'all? It's me, Wally. You can find me on Twitter at WALLE132, like the cute little Disney robot. Talk about all the other things that I'm going to be in and all the amazing things that I'm going to be working on. Coming soon to a Black Girl Mage near you. More Strix U. It's going to be great. Also, coming soon to another streaming channel near you. I'm going to be DMing something. It's going to be fantastic. All I can tell you is it's a thing that's in a piece of one. That's it.
How many pieces are there?
It's in
There's only one piece?
It's like a singular piece.
Not two?
It's I'm doing a One Piece TTRPG.
There it is.
Yes,
Oh
that's
my
happening. It's gonna
gosh.
be great.
If you
It's
know
actually
anything
pretty
about
cool.
Wally, they have the will of D. So
Oh, I do. 100%. But yeah, that's where you can find me. Also, you can find me every Thursday over at GGK Game Nights playing some Monster of the Week, and every Friday GGK Game Nights playing some TTRPG Dragon Age, which is really fun. I get to play a chaos, being a pure chaos in sight of rebellion amongst the city, and I cannot wait to see how that plays out. And then back here on Mondays for this fantastic group of people. That's where you can find me. Yeah. Oh, gonna be. Oh, right. Check out Kobold Press. This coming Sunday, I'm gonna be over there playing a party of all mimics. We're all mimics going to be running through a dungeon. It's gonna be fantastic. What kind of mimic will I be? You'll have to check that out. Follow me on Twitter, and you can see where I'll be doing that. So yeah.
Josh,
Sounds
why
wonderful.
do you look terrified?
because it sounds terrifying.
Yeah.
Oh no, my mimic is gonna be wonderful. You're gonna love my mimic. I'm very proud of this mimic. I may have teased the mimic in this episode in our green room chat. So
Oh my gosh.
I wasn't there for it. That's not fair. Okay, DK, who are
That's
you?
me. I'm DK. You can find me at AbbaDarlings on Twitter, where I'm doing my best to become the confessional poet of TTRPGs. You can catch me on Exquisite Corpse Presents almost all of the time, including in about an hour and a half for Divine Intervention Side B. And then on the 30th, as an extra special Halloween treat, I will be solo playing an indie TTRPG called called Ghostfy, a game of last impressions and learning to say goodbye. It's by Eli Hauschel, and I'm very, very excited. I will play a spirit trying to move on to the next life. So if you're into a lot of the sad big eyes that I make as Salacia here, then come see me probably do more of that on Sunday.
For a second, I thought it was like a redacted thing, and you were like, "I'm gonna play with my friends."
Nope, my throat just closed up for no reason.
That happens, as you do. Lexi,
Oh my goodness. What is up, everyone? My name is Lexi, otherwise known as the Black Girl Mage. You can find me over on Twitter and Twitch under the same exact name, where I like to do everything. That is playing D&D, running D&D, talking about D&D and tabletop RPGs, playing Magic, and having thoughts, I guess. I don't know. That's what I like to do. Right now, I am currently the Dungeon Master for Strixu, all black HBCU inspired Strixhaven campaign. Our prequel, the finale, will it actually end this week? We'll see. It might be next. We might be pushing. I think it will be pushing it. But finale will be next week and the week right after that. So there'll be no wait in when we actually run the games. And then season 1, junior year, will be starting up a little bit after that. So keep your eyes out for that. Outside of that, I'm also going to be doing a new Capenna game over on Saving Throw Show pretty soon. And I love everyone else here. That's it. That's all. What else? Also, Sephi, I miss you.
Same.
I miss you, Sephi. I miss you so much, Sephi.
Sephi, I miss you.
oh, she's
My
gonna have
heart.
some adventures to start the next session, but we're not.
Oh yeah,
We're not gonna talk about that till we get there.
I'm excited. So yeah, that's
and
it.
Sin, if you want to take us home.
Sure, but in what vehicle?
The Honda CRV, 2011
Right.
Honda CRV. Thank you.
You know something? Correct. Also, hi, my name is Sinziak. That's my name here, but also I'm Sinziak Beta on Twitch, where you will find me doing all sorts of things like playing this lovely game and or playing dating sims in Monster Prom. Sorry, not Monster. Dating sims like Monster Prom and challenge runs on things like Hollow Knight because pain. Also, you will see me ranting at the tech industry in general on Thursdays with Major Linux and crew, and I may or may not be in an upcoming game of Delta Green. So if you want to see characters who are like adorable and endearing and have very tragic relationships with their parents, which I've decided to be for this particular game, you can come and catch that in about a week and a half from now.
Unlike your parental relationship here.
This
Which
one
seemed to be
isn't
fine.
well, here's the thing. This one isn't necessarily tragic, but you know something, it would take about one event to fix that if you would like.
I don't know if I trust you with that.
I'm not the one out here hurting feelings today.
I don't know
Y'all
what you're
had Josh
talking
for
about.
that
Hi,
today.
my name's Anoriand. You can call me Josh. I'm a streamer. You're already here, so you obviously know my channel. You can probably already know my Twitter. You know stuff. Hit exclamation point Discord if you want to hang out in the Discord and hang out with me when you have a chance. This episode will be live on YouTube on Thursday. Hey, can I just celebrate a little personal win that makes me really happy? My last 2 YouTube videos where I got the early reviews of Lost Eidolons and Tactics Ogre Reborn. Between the 2 of them, they're up cleanly over like 3,200 views, and I don't know why, but I'm very happy about it. So more is coming to the YouTube very soon. Look out next week for some cool stuff. Hint, hint, wink, wink. I don't know. Anyways, I stream, I do stuff. I hope y'all hang out with me. I got more stuff in the pipeline that I'm working on. And yeah, so awesome. So we're going to go ahead and skedaddle now. We will be back next Monday, of course, with episode 8. Who is live right now? Let's bring this love somewhere because we can and we're gonna. I know I said the same thing twice. Don't judge me. We're gonna go.
The boots boggles will get no judgment.
The boot spoinkles. Whatever we are, I don't know at this point. I don't know. Who should
That
I-
cannot be our team
Um,
name.
No, that can't be our team name at all.
You.
That can't be.
I
it.
hope not. Because that's gonna suck to work into every season. I mean,
What, boots boggles?
there's no more seasons.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Yeah, what are you talking? What?
Never want to do this again.
Never.
Obviously.
Never. There's no
I
more
thought-
seasons.
I
This is a
thought this was
one-season
honestly the
affair.
last
We're-
episode.
We're all
Yeah.
just separating at the end of this run for creative reasons, for creative differences.
And no one's ever working with each other again.
Yeah.
Totally civil. Mhm.
Mm-mm.
I really just want to focus on
Never
that
again.
wink. I think it's a good wink. All right. You know who we're going to go yell at? We're going to go yell at Bright Dystopia. If you are not following Chris Escalante, you should. He is a wonderful person, and y'all should be throwing some love his way. He's also does TTRPG stuff. Literally one of the funniest humans I've ever encountered in a game, by the way. And before we raid out, I'm going to say this story. We played a game of Goblins Ate My Baby. And his character, which is one of my favorite TTRPG characters to ever exist entirely up to this point in my life, is, and I quote, thick with 4 thief. That was the
Oh,
name of his
no.
character. That was the name
Oh
of his
my
character.
gosh.
The name of his character
no.
was Thick with 4 C's.
Oh no.
It was beautiful. Also in that game, I ended up fighting a chicken who was also Batman, so, things happen.
Love
Anyways,
Yep.
thank you for hanging out with us, folks. We'll catch you next week. Bye.
Bye.